Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to Stormgate Central. So today I want to talk about a few things concerning Stormgate. First of all, we've just gotten a brand new trailer from the Frost Giant team that was debuted at the Game Awards, and during that trailer it actually looks like they revealed two new units. Like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think we've seen these two new units anywhere before, not even in the co-op mode. And then I'm also going to do a little follow-up on the Kickstarter. As most of you will have heard by now, Frost Giant absolutely blew it out of the water, getting $1 million raised within, I think, 48 hours, so pretty solid results right there, probably better than they ever hoped for. And then finally, we're going to close out the video by talking a little bit about the public's perception to Stormgate. I am myself in the beta, so I have a lot of thoughts on the game that I'm not really able to properly share with you guys, but obviously, you know, a lot of people have been live streaming the game, and so the public have really had their first look at unedited gameplay that hasn't been specially curated by Frost Giant themselves. And over on the Stormgate subreddit, there have been some very interesting things and responses. Alright, so this is the first one right here. I can't really tell what this is. It looks like some sort of a dropship. Although it doesn't really look like it drops out those two medtechs, it looks like they sort of warp in, similar to how Prodos's mechanic work with the warp prism in StarCraft 2. You know, if you replay it again here, it looks like some sort of warp tech or some sort of cloaking mechanism coming off of those two medtechs. Again, this could be some new version of the evac. Maybe it's like a new updated model, a new updated mechanic that they haven't put into the game yet, because as we've seen from the current beta footage, the evac doesn't look anything like that. But as far as I know, this is a brand new unit that hasn't yet been revealed for the Vanguard. And then secondly here, a little bit later on in the trailer, we see what really resembles to me a Liberator from Terran in StarCraft 2. This has to be, I think, one of the tier 3 units for the Vanguard. As you guys may know, the tier 3 units are not yet available in the game, so if you scroll over the tier 2 upgrade building, it just basically says that they are coming soon, and so therefore we do know that there are a bunch of new units for both the Vanguard and the Infernals that have yet to be revealed. You may have also noticed that this unit did crop up in some concept art that was in one of Frost Giant's recent videos, but you know, concept art is just that, it's just concepts for the game, so there's no telling whether these pieces of art aren't necessarily going to be in the game, but I guess this one did make it in here. I can't really tell what this unit is doing in the gameplay footage. I think the visuals of the game do need a little bit of tidying up. Let's say the fights overall seem to be a little bit blurry and muddy, and so I've zoomed in on this footage time and time again to try and see what sort of a weapon it's firing here, but like I said, to me it best resembles Liberator. But what do you guys think about that? Alright, next up, let's do a quick little check-in here with the Kickstarter for Stormgate. So, as I mentioned, it did surpass $1 million raised within 48 hours, and as of the recording of this video now on the 9th of December, we are at $1.25 million. 13,378 backers here, so really nice results there for Frost Giant. I'm sure they are absolutely over the moon about that. If you guys are still interested in picking up either the Deluxe Founders Pack or beyond that, there are a bunch of them left. They cost $40 and it will guarantee you access to the first wave beta that I believe is coming at the start of next year. So there's like 7,500 out of 10,000 left here, so plenty to go around if you are so inclined. Now, finally here, let's just take a moment to consider some of the feedback that we've been seeing over on the subreddit. So, for clarity here, before the game was shown to the public on a bunch of streamers' Twitch channels, over on the subreddit for Stormgate, everything was pretty much positive, and I get the feeling that the majority of people responding there were largely people who have access to the alpha and the betas. They've already played the game, and the feeling was somewhat optimistic about the game. After the game was then revealed to the public via these live streams, a lot of people seem to be judging the game very harshly for the state that it's already in. A lot of people have had critical feedback and they've been leaving that over on the subreddit. Now, critical feedback is all well and good as long as it's constructive, and I'm not just going to sit here and like say Stormgate's the best game ever and defend Frost Giant to the hilt. I do think they have work ahead of them, and I'm sure that they realise that. But I also want to make it clear for anybody who may have watched the live streams out there that whilst I know a lot of other AAA games that release, whenever there's a closed beta, that's something that usually releases a couple of weeks before the official release of the game, and it's really more of a demo for the game, and you can expect the final version to pretty much perform the same way it does in the beta. That is not the case at all with Stormgate. Stormgate is still very much in development, and I can attest to the fact going from the latest alpha to the closed beta test right now, whilst I can't really mention much here, they have updated a lot of sounds. There are a lot of new models in there that weren't previously in the alpha, so you can tell that everything in the game and the balance of it and just everything is going through major iterations with each and every version of the game. And here's a really good example. On the left here we have the Hedgehog, which is one of the Vanguard sort of fast moving units that fires rockets. You can think of it, I guess, similar to a Hellion from the Terran for StarCraft 2. On the left there, you've got what essentially looks like a toy car. That is the in-game model of the Hedgehog. On the right, you can see the portrait though, and I think that is far more indicative of how the final version of the Hedgehog is going to look. The sound design as well also has a lot of iterations to go through here. It's really missing a lot of the oomph, you know, when you place down a building in the game. In other RTS games, you will hear that sort of doof as you place down a supply depot or whatever it is. Stormgate doesn't really have that yet, and that's because it has a very early version of all of the sounds in the game, right? A lot of that polish has yet to come. Now, another point I see people critiquing a lot is that it seems too similar to StarCraft 2 or too similar to Warcraft 3 or some sort of a mixture of those games. And the way I understand it, that's essentially what Frost Giant are going for here. Of course, it's no secret that they are the people who worked on and made those games, so of course they're going to see some heavy inspiration here, and I feel like their target audience are the people who enjoyed StarCraft 2 and enjoyed Warcraft 3. The innovation here maybe doesn't come in the form of so many entirely new units or entirely new mechanics within the game, but more so innovating the game in a way that it fits the newer player base, right? Because they need to draw in people. You know, I mean, when did StarCraft 2 come out, right? It came out 13 years ago, 2010. So if you're 23 years old now, you were only 10 when StarCraft 2 released, and you may have just completely missed that game. So there's a lot of their audience that they're going for now that have never played StarCraft 2. They've never played Warcraft 3. And so they're not constantly comparing Stormgate to those games. I think they're just trying to have another go at the RTS formula here that's tried and tested. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel and be too overly innovative for no reason, but they're trying to do it in a way that brings in a more amateur audience and allows them to learn the ropes. At least that's the way that I look at it. That's the way that they're innovating the RTS genre. No, there's nothing like insanely groundbreaking that I've seen so far. I think they're just building on that tried and tested formula that the other games have propagated throughout the years. Anywho, those are my thoughts. That's sort of where I'm at here, and I only decided to go ahead and make this YouTube channel after I actually got my hands on the alpha test, because having actually played the game myself, in a 1v1 setting, I can see that it has a lot of promise. At least for me, this is like what I'm looking for as a fan of StarCraft 2, as a fan of Warcraft 3, and those great Blizzard RTS games that Blizzard sadly seem to no longer be delivering to us. So, you know, if you're sort of on the sidelines, if you're on the fence about whether this game is for you or not, I would say just wait until you actually get your hands on the game and you can play it, and don't judge it too harshly until then. Guys, leave me those thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video today, a subscription would be massively appreciated. This is my second YouTube channel, actually. It's not my first rodeo, and growing a new channel is incredibly hard. So any support you guys give me if you do enjoy the video is always just hugely appreciated. So thank you guys so much for that. Thank you for watching today. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.